The two main emotions that I'm feeling from the collective right now is hope and sorrow, which is a very interesting combination, but that hope is definitely going to give perspective in the way that we move forward. So I'm really happy to have that hope. I'm hoping that it will pull us out of the sorrow and bring us to a more, very, much more stable collective. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the reading. Okay, so I flipped the cards in a strange way. This one came out, Get Untangled. So this is definitely, like I said, that sorrow filled with hope, and we're trying to find our own way out of, the numbness and the feeling of just being overwhelmed. But we're getting to that point where this isn't upside down, we're not struggling with it, we can actually see the way out. So this is that hope that I was talking about, that's going to lead us out of the sorrow. Energy-wise, as I was putting my decks away, I have thrown my decks everywhere. So this is definitely that feeling of overwhelmed. It is a chaotic feeling, things aren't coming quite to a close, things aren't going the way that we want, and we're just feeling very scattered right now. So again, it's very much like this untangled, right? Feeling that tangled mess of life, mess of things that we're dealing with. Yeah, it's just it's everywhere. We've got the manuals everywhere, we've got the cards, the boxes strewn everywhere, so definitely, collective is definitely in a scattered mode. Create. So we're reminded at this time that we can create our own futures, that we can create our own paths, and that we are the creators of our own lives. That we can set these flames in us, our passions, this hope. We see this direction coming from the things that we create, and knowing that we have the power to create. Okay, this one is nurture. So we need to definitely nurture ourselves, make sure that we are being nurturing towards others. Feel a little called out right now, because sometimes I get really frustrated with the people around me, especially if they're not on the same page. And I forget to be nurturing, and it's hard to be when people are really rude and they're calling you names, and they not only are not seeing eye to eye, they're giving you a lot of pushback, and you're just trying to help people. But we're just reminded to be nurturing and to be unconditionally loving ourselves, to care for ourselves, and to remember that they're in their own phases of growth, and we just need to hold hope for them. And just see them as a parent, as you are a parent, and you're seeing them as, I don't want you to see a bunch of people as children, but just want to see them as somebody that's learning too. And that we can have that nurturing perspective and be you know what, they're just on their own journey, they have a lot to learn still, and not to be mean to them. I'm being called out. Okay, now let's get into this one right here. What do we got here? So we are struggling to know that we are the authors to our own stories. When I was talking about this, with create and stuff like that, being aware of that. This is that every morning we get to write our own stories. It's a new chapter. So this is the world awaits you. So this card to me means that when I see this is to remind us that we are our own authors to our own stories. Every morning is a new chapter. Every morning we wake up, we get to write our story. And the world is awaiting us. It's waiting to see what story we're gonna tell. And we're struggling with that, so it's part of that trying to get untangled. We want that. And it's interesting, I just realized I said untangled, and in nurture we have this ball of string, and I think that's somehow important as well. Ooh, yeah, now we're stacking some decks on top of each other when we're done. So again, that feels significant. Just trying to get things in order. Not necessarily putting things in the right order. Okay, so then this one is let yourself be carried. So we just have to allow ourselves to let go of a little bit of control as far as our lives. Yes, we're writing our own lives and we might not see the direction, but as long as we're taking those baby steps towards creating the lives that we want and trying to untangle ourselves, then the universe is going to ultimately be there to be able to support that growth. And we're just going to have to know it's okay to take a leap into the unknown. And as long as we are healing the today, as long as we are creating today, we're taking the steps to write our own story and we're being nurturing towards others, that we're going to be carried by the universe. Okay. And then this one is, your struggle is not an indication of failure. So just because we're feeling tangled up, just because we're struggling with reminding ourselves that we are the creators of our own stories, and that we're not realizing that we are being carried by the universe, doesn't mean that we are feeling. So this one is along with that struggle line. I'm asking for a little bit more clarification on that. So this right here is the retract. So we're having a hard time, again, when I was talking about myself not being very nurturing at times with people, we're not picking our battles very well, and we're struggling with picking our battles, and that's why we're getting tangled up in things that necessarily we don't want to be tangled up in. We get to write our own stories, we get to create our own futures, and if we're getting messed up in the things that, like, don't support that new version of us and that ideal version of us, it can make things messy. So we just need to make sure that we are constantly looking through the perspective lenses of, like, is this who I want to be? And if it's not, then retract that energy and put it to use where you want to create, where you want to nurture, where you want to create your own story, and when you want to allow yourself to be carried by the universe into the unknown, and know that, like, regardless, it's gonna go well if we are healing ourselves and we are getting untangled. So make sure you guys pay attention to what you are giving as far as your energy, and if you are being the person you ultimately want to be. And if you fail at that one day, just remember you are the author to your own story, and every morning you get to write that story. Okay. Love all of you guys. Your struggle is not an indication of failure. We're just learning. So, love you guys.